Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Are there really some things a leader should never do? We believe so, and it's what we're talking about today. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And we are answering some questions here, Mark. We're talking about becoming better leaders. It's one of the anchors, really, of what we do all the time, trying to help. And you ended yesterday's by talking about we can't delegate self-leadership. Well, that's really, these next few weeks are going to be some of these self-leadership questions that come up. And there are literally some things a leader should never do. A question came in to us. Are there some things we shouldn't do? And I can't wait to dive in with you today. So I hope you're doing good today. We're in season 3 now.
I know.
This is the second day.
I know. And I've heard some people are listening, which is even more exciting.
It's awesome. It's really cool.
So what do you think? You want to kick us off here?
I think there are some things a leader should never do. And I'll go back to something we actually talked about a few weeks ago. To me, one of the core tenets of really a lot of what we talk about is this idea of being a servant leader. I think when a leader becomes self-serving, it just, you think about yourself first. You always say that we should think others first. You've written about that. We talked about it everywhere around the world. But I think when leaders begin to think it's about them and not about the people that they are actually serving, that's one of the things that, to me, leaders should not do. And so much, when I've seen that happen, so much just goes sideways so fast. It's just dangerous for us to be a self-serving leader. That to me, that's where it starts.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let me add one to it. And I think, again, it's connected at some level. You really should never blame others. Leaders have to accept responsibility. I heard it said years ago, and I wish I remembered the source, but they said, when you choose to lead, you forfeit the opportunity to blame others.
Yeah.
If it happens on your watch,
That's good.
You own it.
Yeah.
And I've told the story before about a situation that occurred several years ago. I was an officer at Chick-fil-A, and an agenda item surfaced, and it was about something that happened on my team. And it wasn't good. And you really don't want those kind of things to be on the agenda. And honestly, it had happened 4 or 5 levels down in my organization. And so we came to that agenda item, and the facilitator looked at me and said, "What happened?" Well, I had a choice in that moment. And I, with full integrity, could have explained, he said, she said, he was supposed to, she was supposed to. I could have named names. I could have given them a lot of detail. And I think it was one of the times I got it right. I didn't always get it right. But I said, I own it. I messed up. We're going to work to see that this never happens again. If you've got specific questions, you can see me offline.
Yeah.
The facilitator said, you own it, we're good.
That's so good.
And I breathed a sigh of relief, because, how long would it have taken for word to get back if I had named names? Again, just trying to skirt responsibility, because I own it. Yeah. I mean, it was multiple levels down in my organization, and somebody didn't do something, and somebody said something, and somebody didn't take good notes. I mean, there were real tactical issues, but you can't blame people.
Yeah.
If you want to be a leader, people want to follow.
Well, I was going to say that to me, you're saying that it would have gotten back to them, and they would have, but it also probably did get back to them if you think about it. And so many times when we do accept responsibility, and let's say I do something wrong and you accept responsibility, the last thing I want to do next time is to do something wrong.
I've got your back.
That earns you respect.
If you're on my team, I've got your back.
That's so good, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I love that. Okay, here's another one. I think a leader should never allow negativity. It's just, I've been saying for the last few months, I don't think you can go to a positive place with negative people, especially when the leader is negative. We do not want to allow negativity. It's just, you're not going to be able to get where you want to go. And I think sometimes we just inadvertently maybe, but I don't think we give a lot of thought to it. It's just like it creeps in. And what I've noticed is negative becomes critical, and critical becomes cynical, and then cynical leads to skeptical a lot of times. And And
it's not a good path.
It's not a good path at all. And I think that would lead me to another one is when we skeptical, when we stop believing that things are even going to get better. I mean, as leaders, we have to have a sense of belief that we can make things better. If we stop expecting things to get better or expect the best.
Right.
Go back to
one of the hard habits from Uncommon Greatness.
It's exactly right.
That spirit of optimism while remaining grounded in reality. This doesn't mean you deny the truth.
Yeah.
You stay grounded in truth
Yeah.
so you can confront reality. I love that.
Yeah. So,
all right. So let me give you one.
Okay.
Leaders should never believe everything we think. Because
like as a leader,
I should not believe everything I think.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I may be overly optimistic.
Yeah.
There may be an issue or a topic where I'm not particularly grounded in reality. Maybe my expectations were unrealistic to begin with. Maybe I'm judging somebody's heart and motive and their intent, and I've read them totally wrong. So I think we've got to be mindful that we are fallible humans along with the rest of our team. And if we read our own press and we believe everything we think, we're going to be wrong a lot.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. I'll give you one. You'll love this one. I think leaders should never stop growing. If we stop growing, it's game over at that point. I mean, we really we forfeit the future when we stop growing. And I can't tell you how thankful I am that over the last decades, I've tried to grow. I mean, I don't even know that I've grown, but I've kept trying to grow
game.
every day, trying to grow. And I think I'm at a better place because of that. And I'm excited about the future because I know I've got so much more I want to try to grow. And I feel like I will because I've got that commitment. But I can't imagine showing up day after day after day and not growing. I was listening to a guy the other day who was talking about he's probably, 30 years old now. And he was talking about how he literally hadn't read anything since he left high school. And you talk to this guy or you see this guy and you're like, this guy's got to, there's a reflection there.
There's a lot of untapped potential.
There's a lot of untapped potential.
If someone has chosen to stop
learning
and
so
growing.
I think that idea is, and maybe to me this would be the first one on my list. It'd be just don't stop growing. I mean, if you can go back to what you said about being grounded in reality and start there and just make progress. And I think if you do that, you do have a chance to end up in a lot better place. So that would be another one. You got anything else? We got more questions coming the next few days. I'm excited about that. But this one's a big one. I mean, there's some things that we don't need to delegate some things from yesterday and today.
Right. So let me give you one more because again, probably got several, but we'll save some for future episodes here. You really don't need to change for change's sake.
Yeah.
Now, change, I believe, is at the heart of our job as a leader. Right? Change in pursuit of our vision, right? Because progress is always preceded by change. But I meet leaders who love change so much that they'll change without any apparent strategic reason, and it drives their people crazy. It actually becomes a toxin that we identified doing our culture research, and we called it whiplash. And what people will do, if you change for no apparent reason, if you change on top of change on top of change, you'll lose the fellowship of those people. They'll lose respect for you. They won't trust you. You could destroy your organization.
Yeah.
Don't change for the sake of change.
That's awesome, Mark. All right, so we're going to land it there today. There's some things that you shouldn't, you can't delegate from yesterday. There's some things you shouldn't, do today. I hope you'll choose one of those. You might even go back through the show notes today and look at some of those. And is there one that's showing up in your leadership that's really, it's maybe even a blind spot? It's something that you need to do to get back to where you need to be so you can be the leader that others, you said it, they want to follow. I think that's great. I hope you'll come back tomorrow as we continue to answer these questions. Go to leadeveryday.com if we can help you with anything. Reach out. If you've got a question, I encourage you to submit that as well. Love to hear from you, and it might even make our list here these next few weeks. We're excited about it. All right, remember, the best leaders lead every day.